Well, he led the first round of House impeachment hearings against former President Donald Trump. Now attorney Dan Goldman is making a congressional run.
Well, he'll face former New York Mayor Bill de Blasio in the Democratic primary for the newly redrawn District 10. Dan Goldman joins us this morning to talk about his campaign and share his insights on the January 6th televised hearings last night. Nice to have you on Good Day New York.
Great to be here with you guys.
So last night, Dan, obviously shocking video shown of the January 6th riots. But interestingly enough, this morning, the New York Post writes a story, the opportunity for the January 6th attack to serve as a unifying moment for the country has already been lost. Why do you think that's true?
Well, I think it's lost because the Republicans continue to perpetuate the big lie, and they've belittled the January 6th as, minimal political discourse or a tourist visit. And so, I do think we need to be careful about both sidesing everything. The Republicans at this point are merging into an anti-democratic party, and Donald Trump is still perpetuating the big lie. And he still is the leader of the party. So if it's not a unifying event, that's not January 6th committee's fault. The January 6th committee is bringing out the truth. That's the fault of the people who refuse to acknowledge the truth.
All right, let's talk a little closer to home. You want to be a congressperson, and you're running against our former mayor, Bill de Blasio. What's the difference between the two of you?
Well, there's a lot of differences. I am the only one who, among the entire field, who has stood up to Donald Trump and his Republican Party in leading the impeachment investigation. I am the only one with law enforcement experience who can work knowledgeably to reduce crime in this city. And I'm the only candidate who has never held political office. So I am going to bring a creative new strategy and tactics down to Congress, and where I have been effective before in leading that impeachment investigation. And then finally, I've lived in this district for 15 years or more. I'm raising my 5 children here. This is my home. I feel what everybody else feels in being scared about going on the subway and taking kids to school with the mass shootings, and with gas prices soaring and inflation rising. This is my home. And so I want to represent the people of my district in Washington, where I think that I can bring that fresh perspective so that we don't continue the same old playbook, which has not gotten enough done.
You mentioned something pretty important that I think our viewers can identify with every single day, is you being scared to ride the subway. As if you get this seat in Congress, what's something that you'd really push for so that everyday people here in New York will be able to feel a bit more safe riding the subway?
Well, I have experience in the federal law enforcement system, and what I worked a lot with when I was a federal prosecutor were task forces, which combined 8 law enforcement agents from all sorts of different agencies, all of which bring different skills and expertise. And it was very effective because you were able to actually use fewer people to maximize the impact. And so what I would push for is much more collaboration between the federal law enforcement agencies and the local and state police, because we're not going to be able to just flood the streets with more law enforcement officers. So we have to be smarter, and we have to be more effective. And I think that marrying up law enforcement agencies with the local police will help to reduce the gun violent epidemic and will help to reduce violent crime on the streets.
Now, Dan, I know you got a very important phone call from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, calling you basically to discourage you from entering this race. How does one take a phone call from Madam Speaker saying, hey, you know what, reconsider, I'm favoring someone else? Like that, what does that do to you? Does that, I guess push you even further? Because obviously you're like, no, thanks, Nancy, I'm not going to listen to this advice.
Well, I think you need to be a little bit careful about believing everything you read, but I do know the speaker quite well from working down in Washington. In fact, I have many friends and former colleagues, and I think that will actually be very helpful when I get to Congress as a new member, because those relationships and the respect that they have for me will, I think, elevate me to a different position than the normal first-year congressperson. And so those relationships are actually very important in helping this district and being able to reach the leadership and reach the committee chairman and be able to express the views and concerns of the constituents in this district.
So let me ask you something. In the commercial break, before we came on and spoke officially, I asked you about the difference between you and Mayor de Blasio running for that Congress seat. And you said he's running like he's running for city council. What do you mean by that?
Well, I was half joking. I think when, Mayor de Blasio is very well known, and I think people will make up their mind about him. But one part of his experience that he does not have is ever working in federal office. And I think that's a totally different ballgame, and you have to use different strategies, and you're dealing with different laws, and the role is very different. I have actually worked down in Congress. So although Mayor de Blasio has a lot more political experience than I do, he doesn't have the same congressional experience that I do.
Right.
But,
wait.
people, look,
yeah.
If there's one person that everybody knows in this race, it's Bill de Blasio. And I don't need to say anything to help people make up their minds. He's well known, and people will figure out what they think about him on their own.
Exactly. So did Nancy really call you?
I'm not going to talk about the conversations I have. I've spoken to a number of my former colleagues down in Washington about this race, and the response has really been encouraging.
Okay.
A lot of people are excited about me getting back down to Washington because I was effective.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of respect for the work that we did on that impeachment investigation. It wasn't by accident that we were able to prove our case. Even the Republican senators who voted to acquit Donald Trump acknowledged that we proved our case. And Donald Trump obstructed everything he could while he was president from Congress. He did not respect Congress. But we were able to use a creative strategy to effectively prove our case. And that's exactly the same kind of approach I want to bring to Congress to effectively move forward so many of the progressive policies that I and the constituents of this district believe in.
Okay, Dan Goldman, good luck in the 10th District. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
Thank
great to be with you.